This is discussion number 2, Bureaucracy and the Staff Agencies. The American government is our largest bureaucracy. A bureaucracy is based on 3 principles. It's an organization that's based on a hierarchical authority. In other words, that there are people on top of the pyramid and there are people on the bottom of the pyramid. And the pyramid, there's a person who's in charge of a group of people, and then they're in charge of a lower group of people, and then they're in charge of a lower group of people. That is a hierarchical authority. But also, within this authority, every person has a very specialized job. It's not a do whatever they want. They have a very basic job description, tells them exactly what they can do, tells them what they're responsible for, and that is what they are required to fulfill. And that the bureaucracy also has very formal rules. Standards of operations are pre-established so that everyone knows exactly what's expected, how to go about processes, how to do things, and following procedures, following regulations, so that no one's making it up as they go. So the United States government is a very large bureaucracy. Now, as we take a look at the various agencies in the bureaucracy, we can kind of qualify them into 2 separate categories. There's the idea of the line agency, is probably what we most times think of, is that these are the agencies that were created to perform tasks for which they were organized. For example, the EPA was created, the Environmental Protection Agency, to enforce the laws dealing with environmental protection. The Federal Communications Commission was created in order to perform the task of taking care of the federal communications, particularly radio, and also they've expanded into TV to regulate them for the federal government. Another type of agency, though, is called the staff agency. And this is essentially an agency that's supposed to gather information and offer advice, offer assistance to the leaders of an organization. For example, the President of the United States. For example, the Office of Management and Budget helps the President write the budget, but they don't actually enforce laws. The National Security Council, also created to help advise the President when it comes to dealing with international emergencies. So most of the staff agencies answer to the Chief of Staff, who is then deals directly with the President. So, National Security Council, example I just used, collection of advisors which includes the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, CIA, and several other groups of people, leaders. They gather with whom the President consults for foreign affairs ideas, national security, and they can ask the CIA to produce particular types of information. Also, another example is what we've talked about at length, the Office of Management and Budget. They're responsible for creating the budget. The budget shows the government priorities, the plans for the next year. They're also responsible to make sure that the accounting, make sure that the money goes where it's supposed to go. They're also to manage the finances and actions of the federal agencies receiving money to make sure that everything's going the way it's supposed to. So again, they don't really have enforcement of law, but they aid the President and advise the President in what's going on. 2 more examples of staff agencies would be the Office of National Drug Control Policy. Up and through the 1980s, there were lots of different line agencies, all enforcing different drug laws and different requirements for this, that, and everything else, and they weren't communicating very well. So in the 1980s, they created the Office of National Drug Control Policy, where all these different agencies would coordinate through this particular office, headed by, they kind of gave this person the title of the drug czar. They were to help deal with creating a unified drug control policy. They were to coordinate the different federal and state agencies in dealing with the drug problems. In the 1970s, during the depressive eras, was created the Council of Economic Advisors. Again, this is a different group of people who get together regularly to advise the President on what's going on with the United States economy, what are some various ideas that they have in order to fix the United States economy, and they're also required to prepare a report every year to present to Congress on what's going on with the economy. So these are all different examples of what a staff agency is. And in the next discussion, we will be dealing with the line agencies. This concludes discussion number 2, Bureaucracy and Staff Agencies.